unrest that also happened in our country in 2021. So the reforms that we have embarked upon, which are really the main showpiece of our transformation journey now, are laying a firm foundation for sustained and accelerated growth into the future. It is this that should inspire a lot of confidence in us, that should inspire a lot of hope about where our country is headed to. It is this structural transformation that is shaping South Africa's competitive edge and boosting productivity, and may I say also attracting investment. And our journey as a nation has been one of resilience as well as renewal. From the triumph of democracy 30 years ago to our ongoing pursuit of inclusive growth, our country has demonstrated that one key feature that should underpin what we do is collaboration, because it is through collaboration that we've been able to overcome a number of challenges. And it is this ethos that we have also brought to Davos, and which we will also be overlaying on our presidency of the G20. Our presidency provides a platform to amplify voices that have not often been heard. And we will also do this through the holding of a social summit, a G20 social summit, which we learned from Brazil, and which we will hold as we move on to the Leaders Summit in November. We see this summit, or the G20, as being an opportunity to advocate solutions that prioritize the well-being of all, particularly the most vulnerable. So our country is well placed to play this role. And as we do, as I spoke earlier about it, we do have a tradition of dialogue and cooperation, of working together. And there are times when we forgot that we've got this important endowment that has been handed down to us over many generations and years, of being able to work together to overcome even the most intractable of problems. It was Nelson Mandela who, even as he was in prison, told his warders and the leaders of the past regime that the future of South Africa can only be secured by dialogue, by cooperation. And it's good that they did listen, because in the end that effort yielded once again a great progress that we saw in our country. As we confront the challenges of the present, social partners have been working together in various forms and forums, and they have been doing so to drive a program of inclusive growth and transformation. And a concrete example is a strategic partnership between government and business. And I'm glad that a number of business leaders who are here participate in that, as do ministers who are part of our government of national unity. And this collaboration itself focuses on really good and innovative solutions to tackle critical challenges and issues such as energy security, infrastructure gaps, even crime and corruption, as well as putting South Africa on a platform where we can create jobs. South Africa Night is not just, in my view, a celebration of our nation's achievement, but also a tribute to those partnerships that make global progress. And as I said this afternoon, we are the one country that can showcase to the world precisely what collaboration does, what it has been able to achieve, and what it continues to achieve. And I'm proud to say that by working together with business, with labor, with civil society and government, we have seen tremendous progress in a number of areas. So tonight, as we enjoy the richness of what brand South Africa has to offer us, we also remember the values that unite us. Ubuntu calls on all of us to see each other as humans, to uplift one another, and to act with compassion and purpose. And if we are able to do precisely that, particularly at a time when the world and other leaders are trying to tear either their own countries and their peoples apart, we should continue as South Africa being a shining example to live up to the values of solidarity, the values of fostering equality, and the values of ensuring that there is sustainable development. We've done so at critical moments in the history of our country, even before the demise of apartheid, when the country was engulfed in political violence. It was business community and various community organizations that got together to establish forums where violence that was unfolding was discussed and also brought under control. And leading up to our historic elections in 1994, that too was a pact that was engineered by collaboration by everyone. And following that, we have done amazing things. And today we are also at a position where we don't only need to do amazing things, but showcase. And I'm hoping that as we harness the opportunities that are before us, and particularly to act on this opportunity that we have to have an impact on the global policy formation, because the G20 does that. The G20 gives us that opportunity to shape a world approach on a number of issues, touching on the priorities that we have identified, key and important areas such as dealing with the question of the debt of developing countries or economy countries that pay much more for their debt than your more developed economies, and touching on the issue of finance for climate change, and beginning to touch on the conscience of your global northern countries, the more developed countries, to live up to the commitments that they made so that we in the global south can deal with the damage that has been done to our planet, the damage that largely emanates from the development that they engineered to develop themselves. And today in the global south, we are reaping those consequences. And the worst part, which we have made a priority as well, is how we continue to have to finance the repeated damage that happens year in and year after as a result of climate change. Various countries, even on our continent, I think of a country like Mozambique, every year they have floods that just damage the roads and even houses, hospitals, schools that they try to rebuild every year. We experience it in our own country, KZN and the Eastern Cape, year in and year out. There are floods that damage the infrastructure that we try to repair all the time. And we are saying there needs to be a measure of innovation when it comes to helping countries in the global south to deal with the repeated damage that is caused by climate change. And this is an issue that we would like the G20 to countenance and to address. when damage happens, as it is happening now in California, they are going to be able to recover very quickly. Of course, we feel sad that there are fires that have spread, and there are quite a number of people that have died. We know that in no time, they will have recovered, and they will rebuild their own lives and the economy that has been affected by those fires. In our case, it happens year in and year out. And we are saying that the G20 countries need to address that and come up with measures and innovative measures that are going to help us address this. We've also spoken, and this afternoon we laid it out as well, about the ability for developing economy countries to access finance that is not readily available, and when it is available, it is expensive. We spoke about the special drawing rights, and these are mechanisms that developed economy countries have at hand to be able to access finance, to access cheap finance from the global financial institutions, which they have hogged for years, and we price open their hands, and they only gave developing countries just a little bit. And we say we need that to be open more so that we can have access to special drawing rights as well, so that we too in the global south can have the opportunity through the funds that we can get as countries to be able to develop our countries, to develop health systems, education, to skill our young people. Now, this is the ambition that we are putting forward. It is an ambition that we want to put into action, and we believe that it is an ambition that has a measure of reality. So we would like people to join us on this journey, to make our G20 presidency real and to be impactful, because for the very first time, as I said earlier, one country, a country on the African continent, is going to have the opportunity to make an impact on global policy, on the architecture of economic policy in the world, as well as social policy. And we are saying through the 130 meetings or so that we are going to hold, would like as many of you as possible to support, to participate, and be part of this journey, so that at the end of the year, when 40 or so global leaders will descend on South Africa, we can all feel proud that South Africa has executed its role to be president of the G20 before we obviously hand over to the mighty United States and its leadership going forward. And we hope that they too will be able to take forward some of the work that has been done over the many years, especially coming from India, Brazil, as well as Indonesia, and now us as part of the Global South. May this inspire us to move forward in a united way in our shared humanity and determination to build a better future. And just to end by saying, this is the very first time that we are having a South Africa dinner or night as government, when we have ministers from other parties as well, other than the ANC. And it's wonderful to be in the company of ministers from different parties represented here, and all of us flying the South African flag, and none of us and I may say that our typical World Economic Forum scarf, I've never seen John Steenhuisen donning that. But now he wears it. And that's a moment of great pride to see so many South Africans, including my ministers, who are donning that. Now, I end on a note that I found a bit surprising yesterday when I arrived. One of the ministers, Minister Aaron Motsoaledi, said, as they received me, said, Mr. President, I'm so disappointed at the weather here. And I said, but why? He says, it's not cold. I expected it to be cold. Now, the first time I hear South Africans saying, I want more cold. So it's a real joy to have all of you here. Let us enjoy this night. It's always a special night where we socialize. And I'm now going to continue my socialization with a lady who said here on this stage that he enjoyed the company and being touched by Minister of Finance. I'm going to avoid touching her because she doesn't seem to enjoy my touch. So thank you very much.